Welcome everybody, it's Sherry Fredericks. It is our Monday night team Zoom call, and I'm so happy you're here or happy you're listening to the recording. Tonight, we are gonna have Margaret, one of our business development coaches, talk about bookings. And Margaret, as I was finishing getting ready for this, I apologize. I didn't even officially get like an official introduction for you. So I'm gonna ask you a couple questions before you get rolling when we get to that part of the meeting. So I apologize.
Oh, okay.
So that's like nothing hard. So, okay, as always, first of all, can you tell I got a spray tan? Not really. Which I don't want it to look like, oh my gosh, I have no makeup on, so that might look a little wonky, but I did get a spray tan for the biggie, trippy. Okay, so let's start out with victories. Business related, please, big or small, and it doesn't have to be ginormous. Who would like to share? It can be ginormous, but. Renee, what do you got?
So I'm over $1,000 this month.
Wow, that's great. Because I think the last time we talked, it was like your goal was 500 because you're like, I got to start somewhere. So
well, my goal on my personal action is to strive for earning $400 a month. But I'm like, I can't start going from $0 to $1,500, in 1 month. But I had 2 online parties and both were over $400. I was a little worried with this, or over 500, I should say. The last one I was a little worried about because when we were about to close, she only had like 280 or just over 300, but it ended up being over 500 when we finished. She had 2 more orders. There were 2 orders that needed to come in, and one was almost a party in itself, and then the other one was a good almost $100 order. So she ended up closing with over $500. So.
Yay! It's always nice for them to get the free shipping. That's awesome.
I know, that's what I've been trying to do with my host. So, I mean, the 3 parties I've had since I started back up have been, one was 1,000 and 2 have been over 500.
So. Well, Renee, you're doing the right thing. So congratulations. Welcome back. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Yay! And I know you're already registered for Party Palooza. You got your ticket booked. So
I am booked. I am registered.
Yeah, keep on rocking. Great victory. We have time for one more. Who else would like to share? Barbara, we're sharing victories. If you have a business-related victory, you can shout out. Oh, Rebecca does. Rebecca.
My team is at over $13,000 in sales for the month.
Wow.
We're on fire.
And we're not even done yet, but I know that some of your key people will be with you in Mexico, but that's awesome.
Yeah. And actually my second line signed the third line person this past week, so I was pretty excited about that. That's on Hillary's downline.
Yay, Hillary! Congratulations. That's fantastic. Well, it's fun to see the growth. It's fun to see the sales. So keep it up, Rebecca and team. That's wonderful. Okay, last call for one more victory. Otherwise, we'll move on.
I was just going to say that I've kind of started using a different tactic to book parties. That's kind of working. So I'm using Amy, but instead of just straight asking for parties like I do, I've just been kind of sharing recipes and then creating a conversation and then asking if it's okay if I reach back out to them in a month or 2 to book parties. Cause it's just like, everybody was saying no. So I thought I'm going to try this technique and it seems to be working. I actually booked a couple from that. And then I have a list of at least 10 to reach back out to. So I'm kind of using Amy a little bit differently. And it seems to be working.
Excellent. Okay. So you're sharing. So like you look at what they ordered, obviously, and you share one recipe with something they ordered.
Yeah. And then I've been doing like trying to send out like 20 a day with a recipe. And then if they comment back, I just kind of create a conversation and go from there. So it seems to be, I'm getting a lot more people answering me than before. So
excellent. Yeah. Well, good for you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. All right. Well, that is, we will, share your wording, please.
Okay, I will. I have it in my notes.
Yep. Okay. Good question, Barb. Okay, so let's move on to announcements. As you know, the end of the quarter is on the end of the month, I'm sorry, is on Saturday. Always watch your dashboard, watch your team. Yes, you would think they would be Johnny on the spot, but not always. And my goodness, I've shared this with you so many times. I see somebody miss a payday raise by like $5. And sometimes they don't understand the dashboard or life just gets too busy. So look at your team stats and don't be afraid to reach out to them. Probably not the very last day, but kind of watch that. Sales and sponsoring incentive, all that Margarita, like the glasses and the picture and how fun it is to earn free stuff. So see where you're at with that. That's always exciting. Any questions on that? Nope, see where your sales are. Again, Party Palooza is coming up. You can sign up, check out those air flight tickets because I think they're only going to go up, but would love to have you there. Otherwise, there's a virtual option too. I know some of you are doing that, and that's great as well. Any announcements that we should share that I have not shared? Anybody have anything? Oh, the other thing I'll say is the buzz. It's going to be shared live from Playa de Carmen and Xcaret. So the buzz is at 11 a.m. on the 29th. So if you want to check that out, of course, you can always see the recording, but I think that'll be kind of fun to see what's going on in May and June and have them doing it from Mexico. So, okay, well then let's get to the fun part of our training. I had asked Margaret to talk about bookings because this business, this Tastefully Simple, this direct sales thing, it's book, sell, sponsor. That's really all it is. Book, sell, sponsor. It hasn't changed. I've been doing this for almost 24 years. We used to call it book, sell, recruit, but it's still the same thing. So bookings are important. And Margaret is one of the best. And Margaret's going to share with us some tips. But Margaret, before you go, and I apologize, I don't have a proper introduction. So Margaret, I will ask you the question and if you can respond. Margaret, what is your official title at Tastefully Simple?
Oh gosh, that's hard. Okay, HQ Direct Sales Manager.
HQ Direct Sales Manager. Okay. So what does that mean? I mean, I know, but maybe the rest of them don't know.
Yes. Okay. So, boy, it's hard to explain. Okay. Because it's a weird concept, but there are some teams that are the very beginning, most established teams in the company, and your team is one of them. And so your direct upline is Jill herself. So, but because Jill's busy, she put me in charge. So I'm actually your personal liaison.
Right.
And I have a lot of other jobs too. Like I have a full-time job with Tastefully Simple, working with conferences and developing training and blah, 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 but in addition to that, I work with this wonderful group of teams such as yourself.
Yeah, awesome. That's a great explanation, Margaret. How long have you been with Tastefully Simple?
This year is my 18th year.
Wow, 18 years. And do you have any direct sales experience, Margaret?
Before Tastefully Simple, I was with Tupperware, and I started out as a consultant, worked my way up. Their top level was a franchise distributor. So I was a franchise distributor for 3 years before I left, Tupperware. Yay, Barb.
Yay, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, last question. I mean, I know you live in Florida, but what's your favorite part of your current position?
Well, that's easy. It's working with you all. I mean, it's I'm continually impressed with how smart everybody is, and entrepreneurial, and I'm sure you can relate if you have people on your team under you. When a new person is excited, then you are excited. It's like you get to live vicariously through that person's experience and see the business with those new eyes. Well, that's what it's like for me, except I'm working with you all that are established, and you know what I mean? So when you're achieving these really big goals, I get to re-experience that excitement through you. So I don't know. Does that make me a parasite? No,
Jeez, I don't think so.
I'm a energy vampire. That's what I am.
There you go. There you go. You're a cheerleader.
I'm a cheerleader.
You're a cheerleader. All right, Margaret. Well, that is fantastic. Okay, so Margaret is going to talk about bookings. I'm going to let you take that away, Margaret. And I know we'll have time at the end for Q&A, but Margaret's pretty laid back. I think if she's talking about, oh, Chris, we haven't done your part. Oh my gosh, Margaret.
That's
We're
okay.
going to take a time out, Margaret. I am so sorry. Chris, product knowledge segment is on my agenda here, but I totally looked it over. So, Margaret, hang tight.
Okay.
And Law of Realness here, Chris Torgerson. I asked Chris to do product knowledge, and Chris is from Harmony, Minnesota. Chris, it's going to be 18 years on May 24th.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, so
Long time.
thank you for agreeing to do product knowledge. So I apologize that I think my head's already in Mexico. So why don't you share with us a product that you picked and share why we should have it.
I'm going back to, if you can see that, the old standard of the Vidalia onion.
Yeah.
On the Vidalia onion, I use it on everything. It's pretty much a staple in our cupboard. We use it on chicken. I marinate chicken with it. We do it on beef rolls, pork rolls, different salads, lettuce salads, spinach salads, all. But the favorite part is the marinating it with chicken or on a beef roast in the crock pot. And I have a customer that religiously every 2 months is in buying 3 bottles of Vidalia onion. And the only thing she's ever used it on is a beef roast. And I'm like, you've got to try it on this other stuff. So now she started her family on it for Christmas stuff too. So she bought like a case of it for Christmas because they all got beef rolls.
Nice, Chris. So tell me about when you marinate the chicken. Tell me how you do that.
I just put it in a Ziploc bag and pour probably, depending on how much chicken I have in there, maybe just a little bit, probably not quite a half of a bottle. I don't know. I don't measure. I just dump it in there.
Sure.
And I pour that into a Ziploc bag and let it sit in the refrigerator overnight with that. And then, or, you know, like at least for a couple of hours. So if you do it in the morning and then do it at noon for lunch or something like that. And then I just either bake it or I've done them on the grill or however.
That's fantastic. So I used to say vinegar. There's a little bit of vinegar in that Vidalia onion. So it's a great marinade or tenderizer. So I bet your chicken is really nice and moist.
Yeah, it is. And same thing with the beef. It really breaks it down and it's really nice for like for a beef sandwich.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Chris.
Yep.
Well, thank you for the reminder. I've used the product, but that was a good reminder on how fabulous it is. Did you want to add anything else about it?
Nope, that'll do her.
All right, Chris, thank you. Anybody else have a question for Chris on the Vidalia onion dressing? All right, Chris. Well, thank you so much for your willingness to share. We appreciate it. Now it's back to Margaret.
Okay, so I know I have to keep this relatively short, so I'm going to try to talk fast, and I want you all to jump in and share, like at the end. But what I want to talk about is how to get more bookings, and I want to explain a little bit about the different ways you can book parties, just so you know the pros and cons of each style or each method, because I think that the different ways I'm going to describe are all equally effective in the right context. So first of all, the 3 ways that you can book parties is you can have a one-to-one conversation. You can use a tool like your available dates on a slide or a sheet of paper, a drawing slip, something like that, like something where people are like a image where you're just putting it out there and asking people to comment or message you. And the third way is playing a game, like the gamble game that you all are probably familiar with. And there's pros and cons of each style of method. So you have to keep that in mind when you are using it, because you want to make sure that you're maximizing that opportunity. I personally think everyone should know how to have a one-to-one conversation. I think that's the most effective. The pro of that method is that you can customize an offer based on what that person wants. And that's why I think it's so effective. The downside to the one-to-one conversation is that sometimes it's hard to talk to everybody. And if you're doing it virtually, sometimes people don't respond to you. So that's just one thing. The second type of, and I'll go into more detail in a second, but the second type is like using a tool or to ask for volunteers. There are people out there that they definitely will host a party, and we just don't know who they are. No matter what the party is that you're doing, some of those people are just sitting on the sideline thinking about booking a party. How do you figure out which of those people they are? Well, one of the things that you can do, like I said, is you can post your available dates. You can tell people right up front that when you're explaining the host program, that the host gets credit, and those people just talk as if you're talking to the people that are going to book a party. Say, those of you that book a party today, I want to let you know that your host is going to get a half price item, and she's already picked out her, what she wants to get for half price. So your booking will help her. So go ahead and talk like those bookings are already going to happen, because that way you're talking to the yeses in the audience. Those people that hear that or read that, they're thinking, oh, she's talking to me. And so they're more likely to follow your, when you say, here's the next step, they're more likely to volunteer. Now, the downside of asking for volunteers or putting those posts out there on Facebook, just basically advertising, hey, book a party with me. The downside is it is passive. And so you are looking for that 1 out of 10 people that is already considering hosting a party. But the reality is that more people will host if, again, you approach them one-to-one, or you use the third method, and that is playing a game. The power of a game, the pro, is that we're using the natural peer pressure that exists within any group. And the reality of it is that if you can find out who's likely to book a party and get them to volunteer, then other people tend to follow suit. So for example, you could ask the host who's likely to book a party, or you could challenge the host to have one advance booking before the party starts. And then what you do is when you're playing your game, you lead off the game by going to that person and letting them play the game first, because they're a shoo-in. And when they say yes, then the other people that are kind of on the fence, they'll go ahead, because someone else has made it cool to book a party because they've already volunteered, then the others have a tendency to follow suit. So that's generally why games work, is because of that natural peer pressure. And I want to emphasize that we're not trying to force someone to do something they don't want to do. It's just that it's about making it cool, like the cool thing to do. If someone volunteers and says, I'll have the next party, then other people go, well, it's not so bad. Maybe I'll do that too. So I'm going to go back to each one of those and tell you some tips, some more specific tips. And then I'd also like, if you have a method for doing, like something that fits within that category of method, if something different to do, then please share it. Because there's tons of different ways that you can do these different methods. Okay, so with the one-to-one conversation, one of the things that this is the way I look at it, is that there's different reasons why people host a party. The social host is usually the one that volunteers. Okay, they're the ones. And Shelley, are you wanting to ask a question? I see a hand. Nope, that's me. That was my hand. Okay, so anyway, so the people who will host a party, that's like the one that if you asked your host, who's likely to book a party, then she's probably going to give you the social hosts, those names. Then you want to make those people like your new best friend, because then it's pretty easy to book a party with them. Then also keep in mind that anyone that's unfamiliar with Tastefully Simple, they may the idea of sampling products they've never tried before might appeal to them. So that would be the reason, if like I would be probably likely to ask at the beginning of the party who is a first timer, or you could call them a Tastefully Simple virgin, but find out who's never been to a party or never heard of Tastefully Simple, because then the reason I would approach them would be to let them sample some products that they've never tried. That would be the best benefit for them, because that person that doesn't even try the product is less likely to want to earn some free. Earning free product is another reason people would host, but that's going to appeal more to people that are already a fan of the product and already have a wish list. So now that's one of the things that you can do to help identify people that might book for that reason, is encourage the guests at the party to create their own wish list. Now, when you play the Know Your Host game, you can get the host to like come up with their list of 10 favorite products. And then you can also play a little game to find out who can guess, or like whose wish list is most like the host's or something like that. But the point of it is just to get the guests to start creating a wish list or shopping list, because chances are they're not going to buy everything on that list that night. And then you can say, if your wish list is longer than your order, then I'd like to invite you to host your own party. The best kind of product is free product. And so it just gives you an easy way, to lead into it. Okay. And so just a couple, two more reasons people have parties, to learn something new. Some people don't really like the concept of parties because they associate it with silly games. And, not everybody likes game. I'm a game player, but not everybody is. So sometimes just rephrasing it, is calling it a class or something like that is, it'll make it sound less silly. And so people will be more willing to do it. I know there's the unparty thing going around. That's another way to appeal to people that don't like parties. And I see like some comments and everything. Okay, so I'm gonna stop talking for a second. Does anybody have, I think Sherry, you asked like who does a wish list, right?
Sorry, I was on mute. I did. I asked if anybody does ask their host if they have a wish list. I do not.
I used to, but they kind of all stopped responding. So I stopped doing it.
Wait, the host stopped responding to that?
Yeah, they just a lot of times didn't submit anything. So I had to keep it going because that was like my first step, that I would reach out to them. And then after that, I would send them the Facebook message. I actually did it through a video, and it was slowing everything down. So, but I mean, nothing says you couldn't switch it to later. I used it always as my first host coaching step, but maybe if we added it later on in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it's handy for three reasons. One, getting the host, telling her to start making a list of $100 worth of free product gets them, if they're creating the wish list, then they can get excited about the prospect of earning all that. Also, you can tell them that you're going to need to get their host reward order when you close out the party, and you want them to start thinking about it so that they'll be ready to make that decision. And then also it gives you something to highlight, like you can take 5 of the products on the wish list and make it a host special. I mean, I don't mean necessarily discount it, but for people that are not familiar with Tastefully Simple, and I know in your area, everybody's probably familiar with Tastefully Simple, but you can pick 5 of the products that are on the host favorites, and then you can group those products and say, if you buy this grouping of 4 or 5 products, then you get a free sample or something like that.
Okay. Did you see what Katie said? And I think I used to ask too, and I don't ask like, what's your, Katie, maybe you want to unmute. Do you ask them what their party goal is? Like, do you say, what do you want to reach in sales? Is that what you mean, Katie?
I have a picture that I put the host rewards picture, and then the one that has like each level. of how much free. I send that to them and I ask what level they want to reach. And then I have them send a wish list, and most don't do the wish list, but they at least give me a goal. And then if it's under 500, I make it known to them that it's free shipping if they hit that 500.
That's good.
Does it seem to work, Katie? I mean, like,
For the most part, yeah. Most of my parties have been over 500 lately.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
that's good. That's a good idea. And, related to the discounted or, free products, another thing you can do is, as a post, is just ask them to guess what product or what item is our most popular half price item for hosts. And I bet you all can guess what it is. Does anyone have a guess? Like what our number one most popular half price choice is for a host?
The essential
30.
four.
I'd say the essential 4.
Yeah, I think I heard someone say it, the 30 meal kit. That's our number one most popular choice.
Oh,
Wow.
I don't sell many of those. I've done
Yeah.
one. I had one host.
Sure, you may not sell it for full price, but a host can get it for
Yeah.
half price with a booking.
Yeah.
And
I
if you
had
just
one
put
host.
that, if you just put that out there, just a picture of the 30 meal kit, and just say that might encourage someone to book a party, just thinking, oh, well, I could get that for half price by getting a booking from my party.
That's it's a good idea, Margaret. I kind of stopped promoting that 30 meal kit, my bad. But yeah, it's a heck of a deal at half price and free shipping. Wow.
Especially
that-
around the holidays too. That one's a good one because you can make so many different gifts out of it.
Right.
That is so true. And Angie was talking about how she's been, which I love her idea about reaching out to people and with her script. And it reminded me of one of the things, like when people are telling you, well, I'm not really sure that I want to have a party. I love to try to pin them down and say, are you saying no, not now, or no, not ever? Because if you can get a list of maybes, then you can do what like her Amy idea. What you can do is you can create a big long list of maybe I'll have a party, and then you can reach out to them, each month and say, hey, I'm booking parties for this next month. I'm offering this kind of a party, and I've got these dates available. So let me know if this works for you, because they've said at one point they would do it, and you can just. If you can get a maybe, then sooner or later, most of them will end up having a party. It makes it a lot easier, to get those bookings. Now, what about the using a tool like offering your available dates, or maybe you got like a special image that you used, basically what I like to call casting a net to see what you can catch, from people to volunteer. Do any of you all use that? Any like, no? Sherry's going, nope, I just ask them.
I do in my parties. I throw it in, but I don't have anyone responding anymore to those saying, yeah, I'll have a party. But I think it might start them thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to ask each one. I used to, a year and a half ago, I would get people, but.
Well, and asking, I'm telling you, the one-to-one is the most effective, definitely. But go ahead, Rebecca. I think you said you have a.
Yeah, I don't know if this is under the casting the net, but I still, I follow Mark Patuska's party format and give out 50 tickets in the grand prize drawing if they book a party. Sometimes sometimes people do and sometimes people don't, but like you said, it's more effective. I try to message everybody individually. So that's typically where they say they'll book, but you never know. There's always a competitive person who wants to win, who might want those 50 imaginary tickets. So.
Mm-hmm. And, yep. And well, thanks for sharing that. And I love giving out the tickets for bookings, because that does cause that person that's considering it to step forward. And when it comes to the third method, the playing games, I know you all, I've seen the gamble game, like, circulating around, which is, where you take a chance and you either get something free or it says book a party. And, so and then you go back and you ask the people that played and just got something free, like a sample, you ask them if they are, would still like to book a party because they were willing to play the game, right? And take a chance. But I like just saying here, well, let me give you an example. This time of year, you could play what I call the flower game. And I asked HQ to create a little image that I'm going to be using, like posting, and I'll send you, I'll post it on your page, on your team page when I get it. I haven't gotten it yet. But basically what it is 9 different flowers, and the 9 squares are numbered like Hollywood squares, they're all numbered. And so what you do is you just say, now I know that some of you have been thinking this was a lot of fun and I'd love to get some free product. And, so I'd like to book a party. Well, this is an extra gift that you get when you book a party, because not only are you helping your host tonight, but then also it allows me to treat you with some free products. And so the way it works is that you can pick your favorite flower, just pick the favorite color flower that you like. And then there is a secret surprise behind that flower. And so you just in the comments, or you can message me, tell me what number is your favorite, and then I will tell you what you won. Now, if you're thinking maybe I'll have a party, you can go ahead and play, because you only get the gift if it turns out that you can have your party. So you have nothing to lose by playing the game. Okay, and then there's always like a grand prize or something that's like a really super duper nice gift, which, is totally up to you. Might just be a box of beer bread, but what you do is you tell them that one of the prizes, there's like fun, there's different types of prizes, and then there's also a grand prize that they can pick. Now I'll tell you a little secret. Maybe it's kind of tricky. I know the dice game, if you ever played the old dice game, that it was the same way. Like you always pick like the lowest odd number to be the grand prize, because then it protects your profitability. Well, when you play the flower game, you can do your own little poll to kind of find out what's the least favorite flower on that little grid. But most of the time, a white flower is the least favorite flower. Or if you just say pick your favorite color, because white is not really a color in most people's minds, they don't pick white. And so that way, just to protect your profitability, I'm not trying to tell you to trick people, but you don't want to be putting, turquoise or fuchsia and put your most expensive thing under the most popular color, right? Because then you're going to end up, it's going to cost you too much money. So anyway, that is just my favorite kind of game, because like I told you, I really like maybes. And so if you do that one, you've got your, yes, I'm definitely going to have a party, and you get a batch of maybes that you can contact later. So that's a flower game. And so of course the pros of the flower game, like I said, is that once people start playing it, then you have, the likelihood that more people will play it, any kind of a booking game. But the downside is that of course you're giving something away. So if you don't have to play a game every single party to book parties, but if you're really needing to fill in a gap, then a booking game is handy, because you can get multiple bookings a lot of times. You can also offer like a little prize for the host, like make it a 3+ prize. When she gets 3 or more parties from the party, then she gets an extra bonus, and you can announce that like at the very beginning and just say, I want you all to watch the party and ask yourself, would this be fun for me and my friends? And by the end of the party, if you're thinking, yes, I would love to do this, well, then definitely, I'll let you know how you can let me know that, because that way, when 3 of you book a party, she gets a bonus gift, or something like that. But that way you can use those games to kind of get multiple bookings. Now, the other thing about the booking games is that people, and this is why I don't really like to make it a gamble game, because I like to emphasize that they get the gift when they hold their party, because again, I want to protect my profitability. But one of the things that when someone books a party with a booking game, there is a higher likelihood that it will cancel, because they get caught up in the excitement and the peer pressure, and then later they might get cold feet. So it's really important, if you play a booking game, to have a talk with them when you set the party date and say, listen, now I need you to do me a favor. I want to give your host credit for the booking. And in order to do that, I need to give her I need to have a firm date. And so can you do me a really big favor? And when you get home, check your work calendar, talk to your family, make sure this date is good. And if it isn't a good date and you need to change it, can you let me know by tomorrow? And if they, everyone says yes, at that point, they'll go, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then the next day you send them a little thank you text or whatever. Thank you so much for scheduling your party on such and such date at this time. I'm so glad the date worked out for you. Looking forward to seeing you. Well, when you say that after you've had that conversation, if there's a conflict, they immediately contact you. And that way you can firm up the dates. So I have one more thing to share with you. Well, does anyone have any comments about booking games? I don't want to, if you do the gamble game, I'm not saying that's a bad idea at all. It's just, to me, it's like a more advanced game. You have to definitely do a little bit more finesse when you're playing that one to make sure that everybody is, understands how it goes. But any comments or no? Okay, so going back to, it's really important, whatever method you're using, to be consistent. And because the most important thing is just to keep asking, because different people have varying amounts of time that it takes them to make a decision. Some of those maybes can say maybe next week, and then somebody else will say maybe in 6 months. So the only thing you can do to keep your sales pipeline full is just to keep asking and asking and asking, because after a certain period of time, that pipeline fills up, and then all those people that are thinking maybe, they start saying yes. But what happens with most consultants is they stop when they get frustrated because someone said no, or they stop when maybe they got 3 bookings and they don't feel like they have to ask for a while. Well, both of those things, it'll end up biting you in the butt, because you're creating a gap in your pipeline. So you just, whether it's good or bad, you just keep asking. And after a while, things start flowing and your calendar starts really getting full. But what do you do right now? Well, one of the things you can do, there is several things going on right now that you could reach out to your clients. You could post about, do you like hot food? Are you a spicy person? And then promote the duo, the limited time offer. Use that as a lead in to get an order. Ask them if they want to fill any of their favorites, like if they've run out of anything. See if you can get it to the $50 mark, so they can get the client special. And at that point, then you can say, this is a really nice size order. And if you want this many things, there's a good chance your friends do too. So what do you say that we schedule a party, and then that way you can get some free products as well, and it will help your friends out. And I know that your friends probably won't be able to tell you whether or not they could come to a party. I'm sure you're thinking, well, I don't know if they're interested. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we just set a tentative date for a party, and then I'll let you go talk to them and see if it's something that they'd be interested in. So in other words, the date's not set in stone at this point. It's just penciled in for a couple of days, just so you can talk to your friends and see if they'd be interested in attending. And I'll follow up with you in 2 days. If maybe you can get, like, say 6 or 8 people that say they're interested, then it'd be worth it for you to do it. And if nobody's interested, no big deal. We'll just try it another time. So if you can get them checking on a date with their friends, then when you follow up, there's a good chance that their friends will say, yeah, if you have a party, I'll come. So if you can get, and so the order, like if you if they didn't run the order through your website, you could actually hold on to it for those 2 days and wait and then put it through their party path. It could be an advanced sale toward their party, you know. And so we also have like the desserts are on sale. So you could reach out to anybody that's bought desserts from you in the past, or drink buckets, a lot of those drink buckets. Oh, my time is up. So, okay, sorry, I can go on and on, but I think hopefully you got a couple of ideas.
Sorry, Margaret. I know you're so passionate about it. You'll keep talking. I'm like, oh my goodness.
I'm so sorry. I can't
That's
help
okay.
it.
That's okay, Margaret. Thank you for all the great ideas. Does anybody have a question quick for Margaret? Okay, well, thank you so much, Margaret. Did you want to offer anything else last minute? I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Just, I encourage you to just pick something to get excited about and reach out to your clients. And then, you know, just let them know that probably their friends would be interested in hearing about it too. And, you know, it's a great reason to have a get together just to spread the word. Encourage your host to help her friends.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Margaret. I know it's getting late there, and I'm so happy to see so many of you, and I'll be seeing some of you in person. So safe travels, happy packing, and I will see you soon. And thanks again, Margaret. We'll see you at Party Palooza.
Yeah. Okay, y'all. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.